If we don't have a functioning education system, that's going to lead to a huge number of people being unemployed and a lot of social instability.
South Africa's education system is in crisis. A recently released Global Youth Development Index shows that the country is ranked 113 out of 181 countries in terms of educational outcomes. Here to discuss this further is CRA analyst Gerbrand van Heerden. Gerbrand, could you please tell us a bit more about some of the findings from this report?
Simpe, yes. So the Commonwealth Secretariat recently released their Global Youth Development Index, and the index tracked progress in 181 countries across various domains of youth development, including health, job opportunities, civic engagement, as well as education. Now, overall, South Africa ranked 131st out of 181 countries, and this was largely due to our poor educational outcomes. Now, as you've mentioned, South Africa ranked 113th in terms of the quality of our education. And South Africa, the report also found that South Africa, in comparison to emerging markets and other African countries, had one of the highest rates of people not in employment, education, or training. Now, our poor education system has many problems. For example, only a quarter of our public schools have a library, and also only half of those who enter grade 1 actually make it all the way to matric. So a lot of problems that are evident in our education system.
Enjoying this analysis? Click here to sign up for our 30-day free trial for more content from the CRA.
South Africa's education system is dysfunctional. So, Gerrie, what are some of the contributing factors to our poor performance?
I think one of the biggest contributing factors is the fact that we have a lot of involvement from militant trade unions. I'm speaking specifically about the South African Democratic Trade Union, or SADTU, which have been, in many cases, involved in corrupt practices where they are influencing appointments of critical positions such as teachers, principals, and even district managers. They've also been very disruptive of the education process through illegal strikes. Another big problem that I think should be noted is the fact that government is trying to and has made moves to take power away from school governing bodies. Now, studies all over the world have shown that where communities are actively involved in the education system through school governing bodies, those schools tend to perform a lot better and have very high educational outcomes and good quality education overall. But here in South Africa, we are actually seeing the government trying to take power away from school governing bodies, essentially reducing their ability to select their own principals. Now, a principal is very critical to the success of a school. So taking that away from governing bodies has a huge impact for the school overall.
Poor education outcomes have far-reaching ramifications for the rest of the country. Could you please tell us a bit more about how neglecting our youth impacts the rest of society?
There are various consequences to a poor performing education system. So South Africa's economy is increasingly relying on the tertiary sector, where you find most of your highly skilled jobs. But unfortunately, our education system is producing a low to semi-skilled workforce. So the type of workforce that our economy needs is not being produced by our education system. Also, the fact that we have such poor educational outcomes have definitely contributed to the major disruptions that we saw in July in the provinces of KwaZulu-Natal and Gauteng. I mean, when you look at what occurred, it was basically young unemployed men that were participating in the riots and looting in those two provinces. So if we don't have a functioning education system, that's going to lead to a huge number of people being unemployed and a lot of social instability.
Thank you, Gerrie. And my last question to you this morning is, what are some of the solutions the government could adopt in order to address our very poor educational outcomes?
So one of the biggest problems that we have in this country is the fact that many people, especially in rural areas and in townships, are, due to lack of funding and resources, forced to send their children to the nearest school. And that's often a public school, which is lacking in critical infrastructure, and that does not have enough resources. And so what we propose here at the CRA is a voucher system. Now, what we mean with that is that each parent gets a voucher for educational purposes, and this will give parents additional income and resources to basically shop around for schools, to send their child to a better performing school, which is not necessarily close by. But this will essentially lead to parents being empowered and sending their children to schools where they think their child will get a good quality education. And this will lead to an exodus from poor performing schools. And these poor performing schools will soon realize that they will need to basically up their game and improve their educational output and solve the issues that they are struggling with.
Thank you so much, Gerrie. If you are a client of the CRA and would like to find out a little bit more about how we think the educational voucher system would work, feel free to get on a call with one of our analysts. Thank you for watching this video, and please make sure to give it a like. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to our channel.